It's Angelo, your balsamic buddy from Sarafino. So today we're featuring Guerzoni from Concordia, Modena. That's where balsamic vinegar comes from. The only place in the world where you can source true, authentic, real balsamic vinegar is Modena or Reggio Emilia, and this is situated in Modena. So this producer, who grows their own grapes, they do their own harvesting, they do their own crushing, they do their own boiling, they do their own acidification, they do their own bottling. This is what you call single estate. And this is how you actually are able to source something that is worthy of putting into your body, because we know exactly where it came from, every step of the process, and what is actually been put into the bottle. So they're organic and they're biodynamic as well. They're actually the first, and I believe they're the only balsamic vinegar in the world that is both organic and biodynamic. If you don't know what biodynamic is, well, I'll give you a short, quick brief on biodynamic. So biodynamic actually goes further back than even organic. It's like the original and almost real way of just how farmers would do things, and just even hunter-gatherers. Everything is in accordance to the rotation of the earth that we live on, the lunar cycle, and also the other planetary cycles that we are surrounded by. Yes, they have a difference in your life, and also the earth and how these plants grow, and also in the production of balsamic vinegar. So it goes beyond organic standards, using the planetary and lunar cycles according to when they're harvesting, when they're watering, how they're fertilizing, and the fertilizers are all, it's basically a self-contained farming system where they can't outsource, of course, nothing that's not natural, but the fertilizer, which is mainly just cow manure, which has actually been fermented and applied to the fields. So they also have a certain percentage of wildlife and forest that has to be in proximity to, in this case, the vineyard. But look it up, it's very intriguing, and it's an upcoming, old, new thing. So into the vinegars we go. We have a classic white wine vinegar, Venere, Venus, and red wine vinegar, Marte, Mars. They're both simply just made from organic wine vinegar. And I say that because there's no added sulfites. I mean, we've even put that on the label. And a lot of vinegars, and including wines, have sulfites added to them, which I personally haven't been able to figure that out, because they're within wine and vinegar. Without sulfites, they wouldn't exist. So they have their own sulfites. I'm not sure why we're having to add a preservative to something that is a preservative in itself. So it's single estate, as I mentioned already. The ingredients are organic wine vinegar. The acidity is 6%. No added sulfites. Grown, produced, bottled. Acetaia Guerzoni in Concordia. And of course, we give you our website. There's the Demeter certified biodynamic logo, which if something's claiming to be biodynamic, it's got to be certified, of course. And then we have the organic certification. There's the best before date, which is something that this producer has decided to do, even though it's 10 years from the production. The lot number, nutrition facts, and then the organic certification. So wine vinegars have been around for a very long time. They're extremely good for your gut health, and we know that perhaps those of you watching have heard a lot about and read up and know that that apple balsamic or apple vinegar or apple cider vinegar has a lot of gut benefits, gut health benefits, which wine vinegars do as well. If you're getting something that hasn't been that isn't organic and that hasn't been added sulfites or other chemicals to it. And there's also the mother, which you'll find in these vinegars as well, which is just basically found at the bottom, and you'll see, I don't know if that's going to pick it up, but there's a whole bunch of sediment at the bottom, which is basically the mother, and that actually just grows as time goes on. So these vinegars can be used in a multitude of different applications, whether you're cooking with them, adding them to sauces, to marinades, and to salads, of course. Moving on to the apple world. So here we have apple cider vinegar, terra, which is earth, and this is Urano, which is Uranus. Both made from the same source of apples. This just contains the acidified apple cider, which is then into apple cider vinegar, and then this is the balsamic apple cider vinegar. So you have a combination of the apple cider vinegar and boiled apple cider or apple juice, which then is combined and then a slight aging process. So this is a little more modern take on the traditional balsamic vinegar, which gives you a really punchy apple flavor. It's fairly sweet. And then it can be used for things like salads as well, of course, or anything that you would pair up apples with. So whether it's glazing a ham with it or putting in a fruit salad, it just really also brings out the flavors of food. And that's something like olive oil, like salt, and vinegars can actually take flavors and enhance them and really lift up the flavors in the dish. Then we get into the classic balsamic vinegars. So we have Stella, which is a star. This is a white balsamic vinegar. So in most cases, true high quality balsamic vinegar comes from a white grape called Trebbiano or Spagna di Trebbiano. So this is the white grape. Basically this is crushed and then acidified, and there's if actually no aging at all in barrels, because that's actually where the color comes from in balsamic vinegar is a little bit of the boiling and also the aging that happens in barrels, and the oxidization process causes the grape or the wine vinegar or the balsamic vinegar to go dark. So these would have actually been fairly white or clear at the beginning, and then as they're being aged, they darken up. And that's part of the grading system for it to be classified as balsamic vinegar. They have to hit a certain color gradient. So this is Mercurio, which is mercury. This is a little more on the tart side, but you get a really distinct oaky, woody flavor to it. And it's good for just your everyday salads, as well as the marinating, splashing into roasted veggies even before you put them in the oven. And then Saturno, which is Saturn. That gives you a much deeper fruit flavor. It's slightly more sweeter. It's got hints of chocolate and berry to it, and it's like distinctly chocolate, but not like a rich chocolate flavor. This is pretty popular. I use it myself a lot. Although, I was raised on wine vinegar. Our family's from southern Italy, and that balsamic vinegar is from the north. So I was never raised up on balsamic, and it actually took some getting used to have a little sweetness in a vinegar. But at certain dishes, it just, especially when you're like tossing it in certain things to veggies or root vegetables and then putting them in the oven, it just gives that little extra sweetness, but in the enhanced in the flavor. Then we're moving along to the vintage balsamic vinegar. So these are all aged in smaller oak barrels. They have the same concentration of wine vinegar versus grape must, and the complexity basically builds as you continue aging them. The evaporation that occurs through the barrel over time is how the water and the liquid reduce in the barrel. So this you have Giove, which is Jupiter, Luna, which is the moon, and Sole, which is the sun. So this is punchy, more fruity, berry, and a hint of like apple and slightly herbal, which is kind of unique for a balsamic vinegar. The Luna, it tends to do, I mean, it's a great seller for us, but there's a reason why. I mean, these are fairly close in terms of price, but the flavors are quite different, and the Luna brings a lot more depth to the balsamic vinegar. You have a nice sweetness, and none of the sweetness is, when I say sweetness in balsamic vinegar, our balsamic vinegars, there's no sweetness, of course, derived from any type of sugar. This is all just naturally derived from the fruit sugar and the natural reduction in the barrels where the sweetness is then concentrated. But when you're tasting, you know, something like a refined sugar versus a natural fruit sugar, then the sweetness isn't overbearing and it just works well, and it's a balance between that sweetness and the sour in balsamic vinegar. Here we have Luna, which is named after the moon. Luna offers a really well balanced but more on the rich, sweet, complex side of balsamic vinegar. There is a little bit of tartness to it, but its aging process has really mellowed it out, and you get some really nice prune, cherry, hint of molasses, fig, and like a smoky oak flavor to it as well. This is one of my favorites. It's great on many different dishes, but it's something you can use with different types of cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano is the cheese that you find in this area, so it's been like the perfect accompaniment to Parmigiano. This is like the classic condiment for that cheese, as well as in a risotto or on many different types of fruit, as well as ice cream, and good for the medicine cabinet. So the Luna, which I got to point out, balsamic, you know, what does that word even mean? Well, balsam, which means it's like a health tonic, and going back, like balsamic vinegar was only used for its health benefits, and of course its flavor was something that people really desired, and it became really popular because it tastes really good. But you know, its enzymes and probiotic factor makes it great for an after dinner meal, or as well as in the morning. I just wanted to quickly go through the label here as well. So the ingredients are cooked organic grape must, organic wine vinegar, and that's it, of course. The acidity is 6%, just like the rest of the balsamic vinegars and wine vinegar. No added sulfites, of course. Refined in oak barrels, single estate, grown, produced, bottled by Acetaia Guerzoni in Concordia, Modena. And then you have, again, the certification. So it's IGP, so it's protected geographical indication, meaning that where this product comes from is actually all the ingredients and the craftsmanship is done in Concordia, Modena. It's the organic as well, and then certified by Demeter, the goddess of food and the harvest, Biodynamic. And of course you'll find Sarafino on there. That's always important. Then Sole, the sun. That one has a much sweeter and richer flavor. Not as, you know, it's not as sweet as you may think, but again, I've spoke before about how reductions, glazes, creams are basically a vinegar that has sugar added to it, as well as some sort of thickening agents, and you get just a naturally thick balsamic. Comes from just the aging process in these barrels in the Acetaia, in the vinegar house. So the applications here, everything from ice cream to whether it's a fruit salad or just drizzled on some pear, whether you're eating it with cheese, in a risotto, on certain types of grilled meats. In Modena, you'll find balsamic vinegar on the table at all times. I mean, it's in the medicine cabinet as well. So whether it's something you have first thing in the morning, or it's something you have after a meal, it's a great digestive aid, and it's also something that offers a lot of health benefits. So like your probiotics and enzymes, which is great to have during a meal. So there you have it, Aceto Balsamico di Modena. We're extremely proud to be working with the Guerzoni family, who's offered us a wide range of vinegars that we're able to offer to you, our beloved customers. We hope that if you haven't tried them before, that you do get to try them. And of course, we love feedback and that human interaction, which we're lacking these days. But yeah, let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, and have a balsamic day.